Jack Ma, one of China's richest men, was born in Hangzhou, Zhejiang province. He left school at 80 and taught English to earn money while working as a translator. He then worked for a media company and by age 34 had become the general manager of a state-owned publishing house. But he wasn't satisfied with his job, and so he quit. His next move would change everything. In 1999, Jack Ma co-founded Alibaba, an online marketplace that connected small businesses in China with global buyers. The site went live on May 10, 1999, with only 17 employees. However, they were about to see massive growth. In 2000, Alibaba saw an explosive increase in traffic after China's search engine leader. A company called Hao123 listed them as one of its top results for certain searches. This sent Alibaba's traffic from 100,000 visits a day to over 2 million visits a day. They also got substantial investment from Japan's SoftBank, which allowed them to expand their operations. Over the following years, Alibaba added many new services to their portfolio, including Alipay, Taobao, Tmall, and more. Despite all this, Jack Ma knew that they needed another boost to take the business to the next level. So in October 2013, Alibaba went public in the United States, raising $25 billion, the largest IPO in world history at the time. This gave them enough capital to hire thousands of new employees and acquire dozens of companies. One of these acquisitions was an American e-commerce platform that enabled merchants to sell products on both Amazon and eBay. But there was a problem. While Alibaba was becoming very successful in China, they were struggling in the US. Their main competitors were already established companies in the American market, such as Amazon and eBay. And it seemed like no matter how much money Alibaba spent on advertising, they just weren't able to gain much traction in the US. So they decided to focus on something else. Instead of trying to beat Amazon at retail, they would beat them at logistics. If they could figure out a way to ship packages faster than Amazon, they could convince some of Amazon's top sellers to use their platforms instead. In 2016, Alibaba created a new subsidiary called which was dedicated to building a superior logistics network. They started by purchasing a controlling stake in a Chinese delivery company called ZTO Express. Then they began investing in hundreds of warehouses and sorting facilities across China. This allowed Cainiao to offer customers a new shipping option that was much faster than what they were currently using. The new service, known as Cainiao Direct, promised to deliver packages from major cities within 24 hours and to remote areas within 48 hours. And it was extremely cheap, costing only about $2 for the first half a kilo. It didn't take long for this new service to turn things around. Within 2 years, Cainiao had helped Alibaba double their revenue from international sellers. But now, they wanted to take things even further. In early 2080, Alibaba announced plans to invest over $15 billion into Cainiao over the next 5 years. They also partnered with multiple airlines to secure cargo space and hired tens of thousands of delivery drivers. With all this, they were ready to roll out a new delivery option that would absolutely blow Amazon away. This new service would be a true end-to-end solution that guaranteed delivery within 72 hours anywhere in the world. But there was one big challenge that stood in their way. Most products sold online are relatively small and light, making them easy to lose in a massive warehouse, but not for Alibaba. One of their best-selling categories is auto parts, which often come in large boxes that weigh dozens of. If they were going to guarantee delivery in just 3 days, no matter where you are in the world, they needed a better way to organize their packages. But they weren't alone in this struggle. UPS, FedEx, and even Amazon were dealing with the same problem. All of these companies were forced to spend billions of dollars each year manually organizing misplaced items. If they could figure out a way to avoid this expensive process, it would drastically cut down on costs. But where to start? Well, the answer was right in front of them the entire time. You see, every item has a unique barcode, but all of those barcodes are essentially useless unless someone actually scans them. Kenya realized that if they could get robots to scan every single barcode in their warehouses, they could automatically organize items without any human intervention. But doing this presented many challenges. For one, most warehouse robots can't handle complex tasks on their own. They typically require human guidance to know what to do. But second, even if you did have intelligent robots that could navigate on their own, it would take months to reprogram all of their systems to work with new hardware. Additionally, they would need a lot of robots. After all, the average warehouse worker covers over 10 kilometers per shift, but the average warehouse robot doesn't walk anywhere. Kenya needed to figure out a way to quickly deploy intelligent robots that could cover long distances, and they weren't the only ones looking for such a solution. In fact, Amazon had been searching for the same thing for over a decade. In 2012, Amazon released a paper that proposed a completely automated warehouse, where robots moved items from shelves to conveyors using cameras and machine learning. But as advanced as this idea was, they never fully implemented it. And there's a reason for that. You see, most people think of machine learning algorithms as super complex systems that require millions of data points to function properly. But that's not always the case. Sometimes a simple algorithm can be just as effective as a complex one. And that's exactly what happened with Amazon. After experimenting with tons of complex algorithms, they realized that their robots could perform just as well if they simply followed the shortest path between 2 points. But there was a big problem with this. When you have dozens or hundreds of robots all following the shortest path, they often end up bumping into each other. And this happens because when you program a robot to follow the shortest path, you don't account for other robots also doing the same thing. So what ends up happening is that all of the robots end up funneling toward the same set of shelves, causing massive traffic jams. And we're talking about robots moving sideways at a speed of 4 feet per second. Just imagine what would happen if one of them suddenly stopped. Amazon tried many different solutions to this problem, but none of them were particularly elegant. Eventually, they ended up giving up on the idea altogether, but this is where the story takes a twist. When Amazon gave up, Alibaba doubled down. They took the idea of having robots follow the shortest path and turned it into a reality. But they also understood the issue with all of the robots following the same path. So they came up with a solution to that as well. What they did was give each robot a unique identifier and use that ID to assign a unique path. This way, all of the robots would still be following the shortest path, but they would be spread out over the entire warehouse. This eliminated traffic jams and made it possible for them to scale. It didn't take long for this system to pay off. Just a few months after rolling it out, they were able to reduce the time it took to pick and pack an order by 50%. Not only that, but their robots were also able to cover more distance in less time. And the secret behind this was quite simple. You see, the main benefit of warehouse robots is that they don't need breaks. They can work tirelessly for 10, 20, or even 30 years. But warehouse workers are humans, and humans need to eat. All the Kenyao had to do was reprogram their robots to pack up their own lunches. This may sound like a joke, but it's actually true. Kenyao figured out how to make robots that pack their own lunches. Now, you might be wondering why this is important. Well, when a human worker goes on break, they leave their workstation, which creates a bottleneck in the picking and packing process. But if you give a robot its own lunch station, it can work around the clock. This means that they can operate 24/7, which increases productivity. This makes it easier to meet demand during peak seasons like Black Friday or Cyber Monday. In fact, during these times, Kenya's warehouses run at full capacity with zero downtime. And this gives Alibaba the edge they need to compete with the likes of Amazon. But there's another secret that we haven't talked about yet. The actual algorithm that controls the robots. Most people assume that you need a PhD in computer science to code a robot, but that's far from the truth. In fact, the guy who coded Alibaba's robots only has a bachelor's degree. His name is Wang Gang, and he earned his bachelor's degree in automation from Shanghai Jiaotong University. But how exactly did he do it? Well, here's where things get interesting. You see, when Wang Gang first started working at Alibaba, they didn't even have any robots. Instead, they had human workers doing everything manually. But Wang Gang wanted to automate the process. So he taught himself computer vision and wrote software that could recognize barcodes. This allowed them to create a prototype system where robots scanned barcodes and placed items on conveyor belts. But it wasn't perfect, and there was a lot of room for improvement. So he went to Carnegie Mellon University to study under a robotics expert named Howie. It was there that Wang developed the algorithm that would change everything. He coded robots to follow the shortest path while avoiding other robots, and then he returned to Alibaba and implemented it into their system. This increased efficiency to such a high degree that Alibaba was soon able to cut their labor costs in half and increase their throughput by 4 times. Today, Alibaba has over 30,000 robots running across 2 million square feet of warehouse space. But they're not done yet. They've set a goal of having 100,000 robots by 2025. So let's see where this journey leaves us. Here are some food for thoughts. Do you think AI will eventually replace all jobs? Or are there some professions that will always be saved? Also, do you think automation is good or bad for the economy? Let me know your thoughts below. Also, if you want access to more content like this, make sure to subscribe. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.